Okay, this is the rebuttal opportunity.
How many minutes do I get?
3.
All right. Well, first of all, we didn't expand the TIF district. The TIF district, by definition, includes adjacent properties, so that's incorrect. There was no end around. The ability to use the redevelopment commission as a tool in a down economy when appraisals are way down. All appraisals are down. You go out and refinance your house and find out what your house is worth now versus what it was a couple years ago. The appraisals are down because there aren't any comparable sales, and that's exactly what happened. We paid just under $1 million less than the assessed valuation. You're saying we paid $300,000, $350,000 above the appraisal. Who's right, Kyle? Who's right? Is that low appraisal really accurate? In 3 or 4 years when the economy comes back, is that appraisal going to hold? What do you think the assessed value is going to do? I think the city got $42 a square foot for a new building. I think that's, or excuse me, not a new building, but a building that is built like a bomb shelter, Tony. And the point of that was to show that that building's going to be around for a while. I don't anticipate going down there and hiding out. So I'm sure you mistook what I meant on that. Kyle, I've got the bank statement, the closing statement right here. The cost is $1.3 million. So again, we didn't expand the TIF district. There was no realtor, Tony. So sorry that your realtor buddies didn't get rich. This turd is a solid turd down there. It's going to be around for a while. Also, it's not a Taj Mahal. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the building. It needs a little bit of work. The frugality with which we're going to redo it, we're going to use a lot of the existing furniture, a lot of the existing interior. So, you know, I guess Taj Mahal is in the eyes of the beholder. So, you know, $42 a square foot. We got a building that's going to last 100 years. We're going to add 50 parking spaces downtown. What's wrong with that? And by the way, Michael, if you want to put up a parking garage, the city looked into that when we were doing this study. $18,000 a space for a parking garage. That's the truth. That's the engineered truth on a parking garage. They're not cheap.
I would like to say that the building that we're going to take down is 24 feet deep by 134 feet, 132 feet long. We have 24 spaces in the existing parking lot now, and that is about 60 feet by 132 feet long. Now, I don't know how we're going to get an extra 25 spaces, but whatever. And you know what? I will GC any building built or remodeled in this city, and I will save you millions. Because you know what? GCs, general contractors, make millions on those $18,000 a space, or $1,800. They make millions. And I'll GC any job, and we'll come in so far under budget, it won't be funny. And it'll be built better than any building you've ever seen.
Any other rebuttal?
Joe, just a couple of comments. The Hyatt Palma study that was done, I don't have a clue. This is for my own reason. Where are they from?
Well, the Indiana Associations of Cities and Towns promoted this project. In fact, it was a national project put on by the American League of Cities, and it was brought to Indiana.
Right, I know, but where did they come from, the actual people that did this?
I can't tell you exactly. It was 8 or 9 years ago, but
so 8 or 9 years ago, they
right.
didn't know Warsaw at all. They weren't from Warsaw. They weren't residents.
No.
They didn't truly know our needs, other than what you might have told them.
What the residents and what the downtown merchants told them in meetings. This wasn't a meeting with the mayor and the council. There were several workshops. You probably could have come if you wanted to. You probably could have been there.
It's probably I wasn't invited, or I can believe I would have been
It's
there.
an open meeting, Tony.
The next question I have, and I got this off the Beacon, the Kosciuszko County website. This building appraised for, I can't see it in this lighting, $929,000. Is that correct?
What building's that?
The bank building.
And the parking lot and the other
The
building?
parking lot was $146,200 for a total of $1,076,000. That was on 2010.
Right. And then the other building across, it came out to about, that was the reassessment. The original assessment when the building came available was 2.218 million. And the owner, because of the loss he took, he immediately went in and tried to get the assessment dropped down because of his tax burden, which I don't blame him.
Okay, so the owner took the loss.
The owner took the loss.
Okay, just want to clarify that, thank you.
Any other rebuttal comments?
I think I'm probably last with my 3 minutes here. I asked for the plans for the new city building. Got it this week. I was looking at the plans. I don't know why, or again, what the secrets are. I'm hoping the city will put these on the website. I counted the offices on here now. I think we have 15 full-time employees that will be in that building. We have, just to make sure on the numbers here, I don't want to give wrong numbers. The mayor, we've got secretary, 4 people in the clerk treasurer's office, a couple people in the sewage office, who's payment center, and I think 7 people in the building and planning department, maybe 8. My math said 15 when I did this. I counted off the plans. There's 23 private offices. Private offices, no cubicles. 4 conference rooms, 12 private storage offices, a flowing fountain in the parking lot. Our current city building houses 7 people. Well, we're going to put, I guess, 15 there in that big building. I guess the only reason they want to have all these more offices is to add more government workers. I don't think we should be adding government workers now. I don't understand why we need 23 private offices, 4 conference rooms, 12 private storage offices, plenty of vaults, I guess, in there, lots of storage, a lot of other stuff. I challenge the city, put it on the website, let the people look at it. It'll be on my website tomorrow, KyaBabcock.com. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything to say about the bank building?
Well, I just want to say if it's not going to go over 2.6 million, then the guys that voted for it should pay the extra.
Remember, Joe, you gave us your word.
I'll stand behind, when I was contracted, when I tell people I'm going to stand behind something, guess what? I ate it. I had to eat it. In government, we don't eat anything. We have a guy running the country right now, he doesn't eat anything he does. He doesn't have to take any responsibility. And it's time that stops. We need to say, when I stand behind it, I'll stand behind it. So if it goes over 2.6 million, Kyle's the only one that doesn't have to pay anything.
Okay.
Just a quick comment on the number of offices. You know, we're actually trying to save by not having to take walls down, and we're leaving a lot of the existing offices. That building has a lot of small areas. Some walls will be new, but a lot of those buildings are offices, excuse me, a lot of those offices in that building are just, they're going to stay the way they are. So if there's a few more than we need, you know, we've got room to grow. And what's wrong with that? Who said anything about hiring any more employees?
Joe, I've been in the building. One time, I guess I was in it when we looked at it. I don't remember these offices being in there. Let's put the plans on the website. Let's everybody take a look at it. Public input. KyaBabcock.com tomorrow.
You'd think he was running for mayor, wouldn't you guys?
All right.
How about JoeTForMayor.com, and you can get my comments on there too, Kyle. I think you probably need to go back in and take a look at the building. And I'm sorry you haven't made yourself available to do that.
No, Joe, I haven't been invited. I'm not on the redevelopment commission who owns the building. So I haven't been invited. I guess you've been invited in there. We've got a candidate who's the architect that's running for office right now. I think she's supporting you, and I think you guys have had plenty of times to view the building, so I haven't been asked. I think there's a lot of people that probably like to tour the building and see what we've got. So
what are you insinuating, Kyle?
Let's open it up, Joe. Let's everybody see it.
Yeah, well, what are you insinuating? You can go in to see that building. Don't stand here and say no one invited you. When's the last time you didn't do something you wanted to do? You're all over the state. You're in Gary. You're in Indianapolis. Why don't you go to Brock and you can do it?
That's a really good answer. That's a really good answer, but guess what? I haven't been picking out my curtains in my office.
Pardon me?
I haven't been picking out my curtains in my office, in the mayor's office in there.
All right.
Whatever.
That will be the end of the 4 prepared question portion of this candidate forum. Thank you, gentlemen, for your candor. And I think what we'll do right here is, if you don't mind, we'll take a short break, and we're going to come back just a couple more questions. We don't want to draw this out too long. It took a little longer than I anticipated. And we're going to change the rules. We're going to try to wrap this up in about another half hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to give each candidate just a minute to answer the question, and then we'll allow a total of 3 minutes for rebuttal, and then we'll move on to the next question. So they have to be on their toes a little bit here, but that's a good thing. So, the first question. What qualifies you to serve as mayor, overseeing roughly a $17 million budget with 9 city departments, 160 employees, and comply with the State Board of Accounts, regulators, bonding companies, etc.? We'll start with Mr. Oswald.
Well, it would start with my business background and the fact that I've run my own construction company for a long time, the fact that I've worked on sets that we had several hundred people that had to come together within a few days, and I've worked in production and producing where you had to get all these people and you were dealing with millions of dollars, and it was all in a short period of time, and everything, the weather and the location and the this and the that and the gardener all came into play, and you had to deal with all those things and all those personalities, and you had to make it happen. Well, I've done that for 20 years. In construction, not as big a scale. In film production, big scale. A lot of people, a lot of money, and you know what?
10 seconds.
If you don't do it right, you'll never work again. And they loved me. I worked about any time I wanted to work, I was working.
Since you guys don't have the questions in front of you, would you like me to repeat them each time? Are you good?
I'm fine.
Okay, go ahead.
My 4 years on the city council has prepared me to be mayor. I've served on almost every board and commission. My stepfather Mike was mayor here. I grew up as a kid. I worked for the city. I've ridden the garbage truck. I plowed the snow. I've driven the Bobcat. I worked at the cemetery. I've been there on the 4th of July when the limbs come down and run the chainsaw. So I understand what the average working person does for the city. My 4 years experience on the council. I travel in and around the state. Thank you.
You want the question again?
Yeah, please.
What qualifies you to serve as mayor, overseeing roughly a $17 million budget with 9 city departments, 160 employees, while complying with the State Board of Accounts, regulators, bonding companies, etc.?
Well, Gary, the company that I founded, started, and currently work at, Instrument, it's not quite that large, but very similar, very close in our sales dollars. Whether you call it revenue or sales, it's the same thing. And from the manufacturing side, we have about half the employees that the city does. I deal with budgets on a daily basis in the millions of dollars. I deal with customers on a daily basis with orders in the same quantity and number amount, obviously. My primary function today is sales and marketing. And as mayor, I think that is one of the most valuable assets I can bring to the table, is the sales and marketing side, along with human resources. I deal with employees on a daily basis and the same number of departments, so it's just a natural fit for me. Thank you.
Well, obviously I've got experience. I've been involved in city government for 16 years, 12 of it on the council, 4 as council president. I was on the planning commission for 13 years, 8 of it as president. Been on the airport board, solid waste management district, traffic commission. I've got 31 years of experience of running a business. What qualifies me is I want to take the experience that I have, and I want to give back to this community for what it's given to me. I've raised my family here. I've been blessed with a successful business, and I've worked hard. I've got a lovely wife, great friends, and this community is full of people that give. And for me to sit around and not do anything, it's not going to work. You know, I would love to lead this city of giving wonderful people and make this community even better than it is right now.
Okay, would anybody care to have rebuttal on any of that? Okay, next question. As you know, methamphetamine labs are a problem in our county and around our city, and they threaten to scare away some of that business and industry that you talk about. What policies or ordinances could the city employ or foster to help negate the growing number of methamphetamine labs in and around Warsaw? We'll go ahead and start with Kyle Babcock.
Gary, I figured this would come up tonight. I was actually just talking to Hoss about this just a minute ago. I think we just need to get everybody together. Sure, we've got a problem. Sounds to me like there's a couple different ways to solve the problem. I don't know all the answers. I'm going to bring your wife from United Way, who's helped champion this. I'm going to bring Hoss together. I'm going to bring together state legislators with differing viewpoints in our local community. Talk about it, and let's figure this out. Thank you.
Mr. Miller?
Boy, that's a tough one for me to comment on. I don't know anything about it other than what I read in the paper. It's scary. It is a problem. It's a huge problem. And for whatever reason, it's hit our, if I'm not mistaken, I think our county is the third largest in the state, or it's right up there, whatever it is. What I know, part of it's because we have so much country here. We have so many farms, woods, and lakes, what have you, where there's not a lot of population. There's more room to do it. Apparently, not get caught. Unfortunately, I think it has to be done to get a handle on it on a national level. That whether it's a prescription, if we have an adjoining state that doesn't do the same thing we do, the people that's doing that
10 seconds.
today don't have a problem whatsoever to drive 50 miles to get their items they need to make that. So we need to look at it, I believe, regionally or nationally.
Mr. Toller?
Well, this is such a problem. This is such a scourge to our community. It's damaging lives. It's costing us money to clean up. The problem is so pervasive, and it's just getting worse because the ability to manufacture is so much easier. I think our local law enforcement, social services are just reacting to the overwhelming number of cases that just keep coming in, and it just doesn't seem to be getting better. I can't sit here and look in the eye and tell you that I've got an answer locally. I think we need to remobilize and get down to the state. This is something where I think our local political philosophies hopefully can influence the state. Scheduling that drug is the only way to choke it off, where it's the only precursor known that will allow one to manufacture methamphetamine, period, end of report. That needs to happen. We had an initiative at the office, or at
10 seconds.
We had an initiative to send down Rebecca Kabaki to support her, and our council all approved it with one exception. Mr. Babcock abstained, and I'm just not sure if he was against the scheduling. He should have voted no, but he abstained, and I just don't understand that.
Okay, Mr. Allspaw?
Okay, well, you know what, you guys, I'm going to have to say that to say Kosciuszko County is one of the worst in this state, I'm going to have to take exception with that. I think it's because Rocky's doing his job. I think it's because more people are getting busted in Kosciuszko County than what they are in other counties. I think they're looking the other way. What stats what are we going by? And look, you guys, we need to work with people, especially young people. We've got to have to curb it before it starts. And that is all addictions, not just meth. I totally agree. Sudafed should be scheduled as a prescription drug only nationally. Why does our nation never take real problems seriously, and yet they worry about things that aren't really that
10
important?
seconds.
Okay, well anyway, we need counseling, and we are not the worst in this state. Don't listen to that. We just do a better job of finding them.
Okay, now I'm going to start
Yeah,
a,
I'm gonna have a rebuttal here on this.
Correct.
I anticipated.
one moment. I'm going to start a 3-minute total rebuttal period, so try to keep your comments brief. Yes,
I'll talk fast. I anticipated.
okay.
Question, the comment from my opponent there. Well, Joe, we've got a rule on the city council. Typically, we get our council packets the Thursday or Friday ahead of time. I know when you were scurrying around trying to put this resolution together on Monday before the meeting, I didn't get a chance to review it. I think we need to be transparent and have this out, and we need to have both sides there. Sure, Rebecca had that bill, it lost. She must have not been too mad at me because she made a contribution to my campaign last week. Thank you.
Any other rebuttal?
Well, I'm sorry that came up, Kyle. I'm just sorry that came up. You know, you take a stand. There wasn't anything in that. All that was support to her. She's a freshman down there with all that going on. She's trying to do what's best for our community. She has the resources, the backing of our community. She knows what the problems are. We're just trying to give her a little bit of support. There was nothing in that resolution that needed to be reviewed, nothing that she didn't know. It was pure and simple support for that problem. And I think abstaining from it was hiding from the issue. Sorry.
Actually, Joe, there were two sides to that issue, and we had a couple meetings in our community. I don't believe there was universal support for that program. I actually know Rebecca pretty well. When she filed for state representative, I drove down to Indianapolis to file with her. So I was there with her. So I think we have, at that point, a state representative, Dave Wilkins. At that point, he was representing Warsaw. We had another state senator, Carlin Yoder, who had a very different bill. During my time traveling the state, talking to legislators, I think we needed to have both sides there before we made a decision to have a vote. We just can't force our will on the public. We have to hear from everybody.
Well, if that was your issue, why didn't you just vote against it if you were against it?
Joe, I wasn't against the issue. I wanted more information from both sides. I didn't want a group of people that may have been against this. If you would have got your resolution together on Friday or Thursday when we get our council packets together instead of scurrying around on Monday, and put it on the desk when we came in, proper planning. If we had the time to review it, I would have gladly voted yea or nay. That's not the way we do things, Joe, and you know that.
Well, I think an abstention was not the way to go. And I think it was pretty simple to see what the issues were. So it didn't take long to figure that out. And I'm sorry that you didn't have time to prepare for that, Kyle. Okay.
Time.